Hey everyone, greetings. It's Naomi Wolf. Wow, I have a remarkable update for you today with a very, very brave mom and her legal team. We've got Rebecca Charles, the mother of Danielle Alvarez, here with us again for the second time, but a lot has happened since we checked in with her last. Welcome back, Ms. Charles.
Thank you so much, Naomi, for having me here. And thank you, Graham, for joining. So since the last time, I didn't have an attorney and I had filed my case myself.
I'm sorry, Ms. Charles, if you don't mind, people may not remember. So I'm going to take a minute or two to remind people who you are, who your lawyer is, Graham Brownstein. So Ms. Charles, and you'll say more about this as soon as I stop speaking, but you recall everyone, she's the mother of the second young adult with a learning impairment who died under what seemed like nefarious circumstances in COVID era treatment protocols. And she'll say more about that. And so the last time we spoke with her, she didn't have lawyers, as I understand it. She'll be updating us. And Graham Brownstein is a California attorney and policy advocate focused on regulatory, environmental, and public policy issues. And he will say more about the work he's doing for Ms. Charles. Now that I've done that, over to you, please, Ms. Charles. Remind everyone, just in your own words, the story of your daughter first, and then go to the update, okay?
Thank you so much. Danielle went into the hospital just for a cough. I was concerned about the coughing. She recovered from the cold. And when I took her in, trusting that I had special privileges because of my neighbor, they right away said that she had COVID.
The neighbor who worked in the hospital, right?
Yeah, he was affiliated when he was young at the hospital. So it's a small community hospital, very good hospital before then. And they said that she has COVID pneumonia. They never really got to do a swab. And she had all normal vitals. Everything on the medical report is contradictory to her admission, which they admitted her on hypoxia and sepsis. Completely contradictory.
Okay. So the diagnosis, she was coughing. She went into the hospital. The diagnosis she was given initially was hypoxia, which means low levels of oxygen in the blood, correct?
Yeah.
And sepsis, meaning like an infection in her system, is that right? And so you're saying the way she was treated was contrary to that? I don't understand.
Okay, so the admission records, which we read in the medical record, she was admitted falsely.
Danielle what do you mean admitted falsely?
All her vitals were normal.
Okay.
Everything was normal. Her white blood count, her blood pressure, her oxygen was at 93. Everything was normal. She was anxious for the most part, but everything was normal. Right. And they said she had COVID pneumonia like everyone else was COVID pneumonia. The same script, another person. Somewhere in between, I walking Danielle into Northwell Health Hospital and the doctors taking her, they made a decision that her life pretty much is not worth it.
And what leads you to say that?
Now that we have the medical records, they started her on remdesivir without my acknowledgement. Now I am her
guardian. Right away on like how far along in her treatment was she started in on remdesivir?
Right in the emergency room.
Oh my God.
Secretly, without any consent. Forget informed. They just started dosing her.
Unbelievable. That's truly shocking. And of course, remdesivir is nicknamed "Run, Death is Near" by nurses because it's so fatal and toxic. That's shocking. So she was not in a coma. Her vitals were strong, and they gave this healthy young woman remdesivir in the ER. Yeah. Oh my God. What else did they give her? Anything else?
Well, they started her on 10 rungs of remdesivir. The typical dose is 5. Danielle got doubled. Without any discussion to me.
Oh my God. Is that legal, Mr. Brownstein?
So no, I mean, what's remarkable about these records, one gets jaded at this point. You saw my intro. I was a normal policy guy. I was not, but I know how laws get made. So when this whole thing started, something didn't add up. And what's remarkable when you look at these records, they're the most egregious medical records I've seen of this type, of any case, because it's overwhelming. There is override after override by the doctors to dose Danielle with unnecessary experimental medications.
What do you mean override, Mr. Brownstein? What does
So
that mean?
the doctors have to actually enter an override when a prescription is over a standard protocol.
Dosage.
I see. So you're saying they kept
over and
doing
over
the
again.
bureaucratic task to make it possible to give your Ms. Charles' daughter higher and higher dosages than had been prescribed to her. Is that correct? And higher than the protocol, even?
Exactly. On every drug, it's overwhelming. It's like a dozen drugs.
Can you give me examples of the others, either of you? What other drugs?
I mean, they're all crazy sounding. Rebecca, toxilumab, and I can get the list out. We'll send you the full list.
Fentanyl,
fentanyl,
propofol.
And what was the other one, Ms. Charles?
Propofol, midazolam,
oh my gosh,
morphine, every type of drug that would make her have issues with respiratory breathing.
Of
now
course.
She went in breathing without oxygen, and right away they put her on a oxygen mask, had her lay down. When we went up to the room, I was with her. They never said get up, move, sit, nothing. Lay down, she has to stay down. Now they're pumping her with these drugs, and I'm thinking, okay, pneumonia, right. People get over pneumonia. Okay, she just needs to stay for 2 days. Right. 2 days, they said. It's Friday. Right. And this went on. And I would bring up George Floyd again, because George Floyd, his toxicology report was at 11 NGs. Daniel was at 53 NGs. I did a private.
If you don't mind, talk to me like I'm a sixth grader.
I think it was actually milligrams. Right?
When credible doctors start paying attention to purposed medications, it's really worth asking why. Dr. Harvey Risch, who's a friend of mine, I adore him, a friend of mine and Brian's, former professor of epidemiology at Yale, and now serving on the president's cancer panel, is helping lead that conversation. A new groundbreaking observational study from the wellness company analyzed the off-label use of ivermectin and mebendazole in nearly 200 cancer patients treated by licensed doctors across cancers such as breast, prostate, lung, and colon cancers. And the results are hard to ignore. After 6 months, 84% of patients experienced clinical benefit, including stable disease, tumor regression, no evidence of disease. This is not lab data. This is real-world patient experience. Dr. Risch, chief epidemiologist at the wellness company, called it an exciting signal deserving serious scientific investigation and more accessible, lower cost cancer care options. God knows. I have some loved ones who are going through cancer treatment right now. And did you know it's the only treatment in which the oncologist gets a cut of the chemotherapy? It's shocking. Perverse incentives. That is why the wellness company makes it easy to access an ivermectin and mebendazole formula using medications that are FDA approved for other indications and are being studied for additional use. That's what a second purpose means. It is doctor prescribed and USA compounded, so no weird overseas supply chain, designed to support these patients exploring these emerging approaches under medical guidance. Ordering is simple and fully digital. Just fill out a quick intake form, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your prescription ships directly to your door. Head to dailyclouthealth.com. Again, that's dailyclouthealth.com, and use code DAILYCLOUT to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. You guys have to do it.
Right?
What was that?
Yeah.
And what's an mg?
Milligrams.
Oh, mgs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
of
Danielle
what?
was almost 5 times the dosing of George Floyd in terms of the toxicology report done at the autopsy.
And this was one doctor or a team?
The whole floor. When I sued 43, including the hospital, because everyone who touched Danielle Chart and injected her or approved the drug or administered it or ordered it was every one of them. Nurses, physicians, assistant, and doctors.
I'm truly shocked. So I must note, because there's, as I told you when I last interviewed you, there's another parent of a medically murdered young adult, as I mentioned, who is interestingly also had the same learning disability that your daughter had. And that's Scott Shara's daughter, Grace Shara, of course. And his description of the drug cocktail is very similar to yours. I'm sure you know that. But and when he described, same thing, morphine, remdesivir, all of these sedatives, lorazepam, my first response was, that's going to put someone in a coma. That's going to make someone lose consciousness. And eventually their breathing will slow, which is, of course, I'm an English major, and I know you don't want to slow the breathing of someone who's having trouble breathing in the first place. Right. And I mean, that's what people overdose in the street on, is, you know, those levels of fentanyl, those levels of sedatives, and mood stabilizers and so on. So have you heard that before, Ms. Charles, that your daughter was given the same cocktail or similar one to the one that killed Grace Shara?
My daughter was given 100 times worse than Grace Shara.
Oh my gosh.
Zoe, if you know Zoe, the medical coder,
Zoe Smith.
Zoe Smith, she said Danielle was 100 times worse than Grace. I know Grace's father and mom. I know them personally. They stayed at my home. Very sad situation. But they intended, like I say, they intended that my daughter would end up in a body bag. So
why? I mean, we're kind of skipping ahead, but did you have a bad feeling initially? Did you have any signs, apart from this hideous overdosing of your daughter, that they intended your daughter not to leave the hospital? That's a very strong statement.
No, that happened later on. Like when I was told, I asked, if it's 5 days now, if I could please just let me go home. I'm 8 minutes away. I'll come back to shower, take all the clothes with me, and come back in, because Daniel did not want me to leave. 2 hours after I left around 6 a.m. I got the phone call, you cannot come back in. My husband
can't come back in? Mr. Brownstein, is that legal? They can't prevent it.
No, absolutely not. Violation of multiple state and federal laws.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Ms. Charles. So they said you can't come back in, and then what?
Unless I have a negative COVID test. And they knew that I was getting sick. I wasn't sick with Danielle at home. I got sick in the hospital, like around Monday. So they already had me in ICU, which they told me that ICU is only, we want to just observe her. Not that Danielle is sick, nothing like that. You know, so again, they coerced me into believing that they were doing the best for Danielle. So when I went home and now I can't leave, I'll be removed from the property if I come. I sent flowers and balloon. They said no. I sent her iPad. They said nothing could come up to ICU. My husband was bringing everything before.
Oh my God. And now your husband didn't have COVID, right? So why couldn't he, could he see her? Was he allowed to see her?
No one could go up. No one could go up without the negative test.
Your husband for not going in?
Well, he started to cough too later on, and they said no one could go up. So pretty much they blocked us, and Danielle is never alone. So now she's alone, and they told me they tied her to the bed because she's pulling out all her IV and oxygen. She wants to leave.
Of course she's
scared. Yeah. She's scared. So they tied her to the bed, and so I left Wednesday morning. Saturday morning, they harassing me all the time, telling me she need to go on a ventilator. Saturday morning, my ex-husband was...
Can you just slow down a little? I know this is very upsetting, but we just want to understand exactly what happened. At what day did they say she had to go on a ventilator?
Well, as soon as he brought her into the ICU on Monday evening.
Who's he?
Dr. Ramanu, the one who's called the ventilator maestro. That's what he's called in the hospital. Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah. He told me we're just bringing her in for observation. Tuesday morning, he came into the ICU room and he said, we need to put her on a ventilator. And I said, no, she's not going on a ventilator. I'm here with her. So it was a setup to go on the ventilator. So when I left Wednesday morning, hoping I would be back, the phone calls start coming. She needs to go on a ventilator. And I can't see Danielle. Danielle can't see me. And obviously she's crying. She has anxiety. She's probably hyperventilating. You know, she's tied to the bed. Who wouldn't be hyperventilating?
Of course.
You know, I mean, no one there with her. Just people in mass. So when Saturday. Now this was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. Now they insisted on the ventilator. And I asked Dr. Ramanu, the ventilator maestro, I said, if this was your daughter, would you put her on a ventilator?
Mm-hmm.
And he said yes. But in order to put her on a ventilator, they shot her with morphine to drop her stat in the morning, 2 shots of morphine. To justify putting her.
Morphine, 2 shots, like 2 syringes full of morphine.
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what I had a parent who was in hospice care, and like that's the kind of dosage you give someone who's passing away, like who's in their 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't mind euthanasia, no. I mean that's a murderous dose of morphine. 2 injections of pure morphine.
Yeah, 1 mg at 9:45 and the second mg, and then she had to go on the they said she has to go on the ventilator.
I bet, because she's been completely drugged with morphine and nothing's going to be functioning.
No.
That's so terrifying. So you weren't even physically with her when they put her on a ventilator. Is that correct?
Yes. No, I wasn't there, and they never even allowed me to look at her, to talk to her, to speak to her. Nothing. They cut that off. The day before they gave her morphine, one of the PAs started her on Presidex, which is a paralytic drug. So they were preparing her to go on that ventilator the day before. It's the medical records are horrific.
What reason did they give you for giving her a paralytic drug?
There's nothing in the charts. There's no justification. Nothing.
So they gave it to her without recording it?
They reported in the medical, but they never give a reason. They never give like, oh, well, we're giving her this drug to wean her off. There was never a protocol to wean Danielle off the drugs or wean her off the ventilator. So they pumped her full of so much drugs. 2 days after she went on the ventilator, my daughter got a heart attack. And they never told me.
They never told you?
No.
Your daughter had a heart attack and they never told you? I can't even process this. Why didn't they tell you?
They was hoping I would never find out.
Oh my God. But it's in her chart that she had a heart attack?
It's in her chart. The ventilator maestro gave her heart medication. There was never even a cardiologist who visited Danielle and prescribed it. It was the ventilator maestro. So they were controlling everything on the floor.
Oh my God. So she wasn't dying, and they gave her all the things that would lead to a condition in which they could say she was dying.
Yeah.
And had she ever had problems with her heart before?
No. Normal EKG in the ER, normal white blood cells, every single thing was normal. The most they should have done was just give her some antibiotics or medication and send her home. She was not a candidate to be admitted in the hospital.
What did they say she had? What was her diagnosis at this point?
They told me COVID pneumonia. On the medical record, they say hypoxia and sepsis.
I see. And Mr. Brownstein, what is your assessment from the medical record of what she had versus what they said she had, or was it the same?
So this is, generally speaking and specific to this question, the medical records were clearly altered in some respects and yet not fully. So my read is they were very cocky and messy in their attempted cover-up.
So what evidence?
Left lots in the records for us to find, and Rebecca very wisely put a freeze on the records immediately.
Good.
So we have the records, and they're horrific. They are
well, can you describe, first of all, what evidence do you have that they altered the records, and in what way are the records horrific?
Well, they're a mess. So things are out of order. So it appears that they went through things to try to find bits and pieces that might be bad and erase or delete, but didn't find everything because there was so much that things appear later or in other places. So I'm not a medical records expert, but in talking to people who've looked at records for many decades, they all agree these records were tampered with. It just looks like that. Also, there are different numbers in different places for the same thing, like her oxygen levels upon admittance. Page 1, it says 93. Pages 16 and 17 says 96%. Which is it? Either way, she should have been sent home, but it's one or the other or something else entirely. We don't know.
96%, even 93% is not an emergency drop.
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
She had oxygen. She was breathing. She didn't need to come in. She wasn't, like nothing like that. She was normal. Right. And the nurse who went through the records, she's a nurse of 42 years, reading medical records, and she had nightmares after she read it. It was so traumatizing for her to see what they did to Danielle. It was so deliberate. It was horrific. They even said at times the mother is unknown. Like they didn't care in the record.
The mother's unknown.
Yeah.
So I just want to note that Joyce DeVoice noted that this murder, they did that to my aunt as well. They essentially put her down like a dog. She knew she was not going to wake up. She was talking the day before. So we don't know. There could have been, dozens or hundreds of people who were murdered in the way that you're describing. And I just want to add a note for your lawyers. And by the way, one of your lawyers has arrived, but she seems to have left again. So we'll leave that. That I just found that the same scientist, Dr. Eric Donaldson, who was doing gain of function research on bat coronaviruses at the University of North Carolina, funded by Dr. Fauci, working with Dr. Ralph Baric from like 2008 to about 2016, was moved over to the FDA. And in 2020, in March of 2020, he's the guy who rubber stamped remdesivir on behalf of Gilead Sciences as an emergency use authorization treatment for COVID. And this is a very big deal to me to look at that email chain. And I'm handing it over to you, Mr. Brownstein, and your team, if you want to.
One second. Tricia is waiting to come in, she said.
Then she'll have to get back on the link because she's not on the link. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's evidence that Dr. Fauci knew how lethal remdesivir would be prior to it being an emergency use authorization to rush it through as a treatment for COVID. Point being, maybe what happened to your daughter could have happened to thousands of people around the country. In other words, they might have been fine, but the protocol was deadly. The COVID protocol was deadly. And this was very, very intentional. That the EUA, was March of 2020. I'm adding that, Mr. Brownstein, because remdesivir hadn't been a treatment. It needed to bypass normal FDA trials to get an emergency use authorization. I know this isn't your, you come from another world, so I'm just like giving you the cliff notes of why
this has become my world, unfortunately.
It has, I'm sure. All right, so let's go back to poor Danielle and poor you, Ms. Charles. So she's on a ventilator. Were you allowed to see her at that point, or were you not allowed to see her till she had passed away?
No, I was able to come back. So I left on September 1st. And when I was COVID clear, it was the following Monday. I believe it was the 13th. In that time period, I found out about remdesivir. And I called him and I said, sorry to interrupt. I was doing my research on why she's getting so sick and been listening to a lot. And then I heard the word remdesivir. And that's when I found out it's how toxic it is. And I called him and I said, please do not give my daughter remdesivir. And he said, oh, we already give her 10, very casually. 10
milligrams?
Doses. 10 doses.
Doses of remdesivir.
10 doses of remdesivir.
And I'm greeting attorney Tricia Lindsay, civil rights and constitutional law attorney. I believe we've met in California, Ms. Lindsay. Good to see you again.
How are you, Dr.
Good. How are you doing?
Yes. I think I was at your book signing in Brooklyn a couple of years ago.
That's right. That's where we met. That's right.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this important work. So, and welcome. So did you want to add anything to what we've been talking about so far? We're essentially just getting the timeline of Danielle's time in the hospital and the various illegalities thereof.
I'll jump in. I'm literally just coming in from court, so let me listen in a little bit. I didn't get to hear. I'm literally just walking in.
All right, we'll keep going. So, so you found out they'd given her 10 doses of remdesivir, and just before this came up, I Googled 2 syringes of morphine danger, and the AI overview is 2 syringes of morphine can cause a fatal overdose, resulting in severe respiratory depression, slowed or stopped breathing, dangerous drops in blood pressure, coma, and cardiac arrest. This constitutes a medical emergency requiring immediate call to emergency services if someone is unconscious, limp, or not breathing at all. And it's defined as an overdose. So they gave your daughter, just with the morphine alone, enough to cause enough morphine to cause a fatal overdose. So now you said 10 doses of remdesivir, right?
Yeah.
Wait, how much per dose?
I believe it was 100. I'm not sure. I don't want to quote it, but I believe it was 100 because she got 2 doses of it in one day, which was 200. So I believe it was 100 was a standard dose, 100 mgs, I believe.
So when you look up remdesivir danger, peer-reviewed articles come right up. Adverse events following remdesivir administration, risk of liver and kidney damage, key risks liver toxicity, nausea, vomiting, cardiac events, bradycardia, slow heart rate. And I see why they said, well, I don't know why they said 10, but the standard dose or protocol seems to be 10 days, not 10 doses. And she hadn't been in the hospital 10 days, right?
No, the standard dose was 5 doses of remdesivir. Everybody else, even adults, got 5 doses. I don't know why.
She got 2 in one day.
She got 2, and she got 10 altogether. So.
But she was only in the hospital for how many days?
41 days.
For 41 days. Wow. And then fentanyl, like, how is that supposed to be helping her?
They said for pain, but then they were giving her propofol, midazolam, everything else, and they didn't need to push more fentanyl. So but before that, so when I was at home, I hired Ralph Laringo. Everybody know Ralph Laringo to get her ivermectin. So okay. the judge approved it and said immediately administer for the hospital to immediately administer ivermectin.
Good for you, Mom. That's good.
This is before Rebecca knew what they were secretly dosing her, right? So she's trying to help her daughter actually get well. She hears this might be helpful. The hospital refuses to give her ivermectin, so she gets a court order.
The judge said yes, and the hospital said no. After the judge said yes?
Well, the doctor told me he can't give it. He's not going to give it to her. And I said, I'm going to get a court order.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to get the timeline correct. The judge said you have to give it to her. And after that ruling, the hospital refused to give it to her? Or before?
So before they refused to, and when they got the court order, the doctor's wife gave them the court order. They said it's in the legal department. I kept calling. Did she get the ivermectin? It's in the legal department. So Saturday, Sunday, Mondays when I came back to the hospital. So she got, I believe, 3 doses of ivermectin.
But you weren't physically there to witness it. It's just what they put in the records.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So he called me and he said, we have to stop the ivermectin. I'm like, why we have to stop the ivermectin? He said, because her liver enzyme is high.
Because of the remdesivir, which is causing liver toxicity.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So I said to him,
you see how they did it? Doctor?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So as a mom in that situation, you are scared to challenge them. But I did say, it's the remdesivir, and they all stood quiet. No one said anything. But so I had to, I said it's the remdesivir. And I had to agree for them to stop it. Otherwise, what am I going to do? If I don't, they'll kick me out. They'll say I can't come back. But and I know that my daughter is very healthy, so she could overcome this.
Right.
But he was showing me how it's going up, and it was the remdesivir, and it's in her medical record too.
Of course, which is an acknowledged side effect of remdesivir is liver toxicity, kidney damage. I know so many people who have. I mean, they're told they have long COVID, but they were treated with remdesivir, and it's a miracle they survived. And I know other people whose loved ones passed away from being given remdesivir because Dr. Fauci knew that it was fatal. So then so they're administering, they say some ivermectin. Is she getting any better? And they said, we can't do it anymore because of her liver toxicity. Then what happened?
Then it was, so the next day is when Iqbal told me, her right side of her heart is damaged. That's the
Can you
other
tell me
doctor.
who is Iqbal, her doctor?
Yeah, it's Iqbal, Dr. Saeed Iqbal and Dr. Ramanu were the two main ones on the COVID floor. They were all over Danielle chart. They were administering, they were ordering. They were the ones, the main two culprits there. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, the right side of her heart is damaged. And I'm like, what do you mean the right side of her heart is damaged? Oh, it's the COVID.
This is insane. New research has found that microplastics, yes, the same bad stuff from bottles and packaging, lodges inside the arteries of over half the people who were studied. And get this, those with microplastics in their bodies were 4.5 times more likely to have a heart attack or stroke. This is really serious. Microplastics are in your food, your water, even in your phone and in your steering wheel. And while RFK Jr. says he's cracking down, the 1.1 trillion plastics industry isn't going to go along with that quietly. So it's up to us to really protect ourselves. You can start with a few simple things. A natural drink, for instance, that lowers blood pressure, in some cases by 12 points, an ancient stress-lowering intervention, and a Chinese dragon tea that helps even the least healthy among us. I won't be able to share all the details here, but I am offering a free report that explains it all via our sponsors, My Primal Life. Just scan this QR code and see how thousands of people are ditching medications and getting their blood pressure under control naturally. Don't wait. Your heart and your overall well-being will thank you.
This time they knew the week before, they gave her a heart attack with all the drugs.
Good.
And they never told me. Told me.
They never told me. A heart attack, good heavens. And is she now being fed intravenously? Is she able to get up and go to the bathroom, or is she completely
She's comatose, swollen. And I said to her, why is she so swollen? Aren't you giving her something? Oh, okay, we'll give her something. It's like I have to ask, why is she so swollen? She had pressure sores on her chin, pressure sores on her eye because they left her upside down in a prone position. Yeah. And they wrote it on the chart.
Oh my God.
They wrote it on the chart.
So Joyce DeVoy says, I'm so sorry for Rebecca. Prayer emojis. They gave my aunt remdesivir, morphine, etc., but no antibiotics, no steroid like an albuterol breathing treatment, no expectorant, nothing standard for pneumonia or bronchitis. I had the same pneumonia as I was staying with her. They said she had COVID. I refused to test because I knew we did not have COVID. I called my doctor and got an antibiotic and a cough syrup, which is what it sounds like your daughter needed. But her kids sent her to the hospital. She died and I lived. So this is more than just your story. I mean, your story is heartbreaking enough, but I think what's amazing about your lawsuit is that you're opening, a massive tranche of horrible other cases. I'm sure that we're going to find when you guys do.
And I just want to say here on the legal strategy and framing, there are thousands of cases like this, I think. Northwell does appear to have been a particularly egregious actor in New York State during this time. Mm-hmm. The protocols put in place were very, very aggressive. And the fact that it's all in the records really is the case.
Right.
They fraudulently induced Rebecca to admit her daughter. Right.
Wow.
When they should have sent them home. That's what.
What are the charges? Well, let's get to the end of Rebecca's story. Then the whole second half will be the lawyers.
Great.
So,
great.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
So the comments they would make, like the ventilator maestro came in the room one day, I'm there, and said, I have nightmares about your daughter. Like, how do you answer someone who says that? You're just like, okay, it has to go. He's just, and at one point in time, I said, I don't want to hear any more negative words from you.
He was saying, like, I'm afraid she's going to die. What a thing to say.
Well, he know what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he was doing. Maybe his conscience pricked him.
I see.
Another one told me, well, it will take a lot to bring Danielle back. and things like, oh, the kidney's working for now. The kidney's working for now. So if the kidney's going to fail, put on a machine. There was it was the most cold. I can't believe these were even human acting here in the hospital. It was one after the other. They just did not care to take care of my daughter. They did not care to say, okay, mom, she's going to come home. Don't worry, we're going to make her come home. There was no hope in that hospital. No hope for
it sounds
41
like they
days.
made a decision before anything unfolded. It almost sounds like a science experiment. I mean,
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I hate to do this to a grieving mother, but at what point did you get the call, or did you find out that your daughter had passed away?
Well, I was there every day from 12 o'clock. That's when they let me in till 6 o'clock. I was there every day, and I saw what was happening, and I started getting worried, and my husband would come in and we would pray, and then they would stop us. They would say, don't pray. Her heart rate is going up. Don't pray in the room. It's crazy things like that.
Demons, don't pray in the room.
Don't pray. And then I'm saying, when is she coming home? So it was another blood transfusion. They have to do a blood transfusion. Now Danielle got sepsis because of the central line.
Right.
The change in the line from here to there, she got infected. So they would start on antibiotics for 1 day or 2 days and stop it.
Right.
And then the infection would flare up worse. And then they would start again 1 day, 2 day antibiotics, no more antibiotics. So she never got a full course. It was so deliberate.
This is so bad. I know, because I almost died of sepsis 2 summers ago, and I was on like a 6-day course of antibiotics until I was recovered. That's horrible. No, nothing's going to clear sepsis in 2 days or 1 day. They're trying to kill your daughter. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you have to tell me when you got the news that she passed.
Okay. So coming up to the week before, it was getting worse, and I kept asking them, could I take her to another hospital? What are we going to do? Oh no, we need to put a trach now on her. So okay, I agreed for them to put a trach on her, and when and the nurse who knows me said to me, the ones who we think gonna live, they die, and the ones who we think gonna die live.
Oh my God.
She's 28 years old. Why are you telling me this?
Oh my God.
So it was getting worse and worse. And the Monday was there. He went in the room, Danielle, oxygen is dropping now. She's really struggling. And I saw him pumping, and he's doing this to the ventilator. That's why they call him the ventilator maestro, because he knows what he's doing. And he enjoys that. He enjoys doing that.
Okay. And then what happened?
And he came out of the room and he said to me, the next few days going to be hard. That's it. And Wednesday morning early, they call me and tell me I have to come. I have to come to the hospital now. It doesn't look good. And I said to them, please do CPR. And they said, no, we can't do CPR. It'll damage her. Just let her pass. Let her pass. It will damage her ribs. That's what.
It'll damage her ribs. She's dying.
Yeah.
This is insane medical reasoning.
Yeah. And everybody's standing up outside.
Now, when they say and then she passed away, I'm not trying to.
Well, I begged them to please do the CPR. And they agreed to do it around 9-something. And then I saw blood coming out through the ventilator. And I said to them, stop, don't do anymore. And that's when that's when she died.
Oh, I'm so sorry. She knew, I'm sure, that you fought for her till the very end. And as a mother, you didn't leave any stone unturned. There's no battle you didn't fight. You're an exemplary mother put into a horrible, horrible, demonic situation. And we're all so sorry for your loss. Pure evil, as Joyce DuBois says, pure evil. Let me now, if you don't mind, turn to the lawyers. And let me start with Mr. Brownstein and then go to Ms. Lindsay. I want to know, what are the causes of action here? What are you suing for, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Yeah, so we have filed an amended complaint on Rebecca's behalf, and there are some legal procedural complexities that we're fighting. It continues to be, they are really doing everything to try to prevent Rebecca from
Who's they? Northwell or the state of
the defense, and there is some significant judicial error now as well from the court even. So it's an interesting fight, this one. This is going to be a doozy. Our claims.
I'm sorry, I have to.
It's fine. Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
No, please. It's all good. Life happens. So our claims in the amended complaint that we have filed are medical negligence and malpractice, negligent supervision and institutional negligence, as well as vicarious liability.
What is vicarious liability?
So liability that will apply to all of the actors involved at the institution, even if they weren't directly involved, right?
Like accessories to the crime.
Exactly. Correct. Anybody who was involved in the back office with billing fraud, etc.
Love it.
Wrongful death, lack of informed consent, medical battery, failure to monitor, negligent drug monitoring, failure to wean, improper ventilator management, negligent credentialing and hiring, dependent adult abuse. These are New York public health statutory claims. False imprisonment and unlawful restraint. Fraudulent concealment, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and also federal ADA and discrimination claims.
Absolutely. Wow.
There are a dozen claims total.
Yeah. And then if you're, and what are the landmarks that that you guys have reached since you took the case? I mean, it's been filed, it's been argued. Where are you guys at?
So, and Tricia will jump in here any time. We filed multiple motions attempting to get the court to answer the core question of how would you like us to file our amended complaint against all of these original defendants? There are multiple pathways for us to do so, but now that Rebecca has counsel, the primary defect in her initial complaint has been cured. So all of our motions essentially said, court, give us direction as to how you want us to file the amended complaint. The court refused to answer the question repeatedly. So we went ahead and filed the amended complaint under what we thought was the strongest statutory framework that allowed us to do so. Immediately after filing, almost immediately after filing the amended complaint, the judge issued an affirmation of a judgment from 2024 dismissing Rebecca's original complaint against 38 of the original 43 defendants. Now, so there's an active proceeding based on the original complaint against 5 of the original defendants, but now, based on this affirmation of the dismissal, where's this amended complaint? So Tricia took the remarkable step of submitting a letter to the judge that effectively said, really, Your Honor?
Let me jump in and go over to Tricia, if I may. So first, could you say what led you, you're both very distinguished in your fields. Tricia, what led you to take on this case, given all the claims on your time as well?
The egregious nature. First, thank you for having me, Naomi. I appreciate it. Thank you for having us. The egregious nature of the matter, of what took place. Like you and Graham, I was on the ground during COVID, during the protocols and the peak time when, the lockdowns, the vaccine, the mandates, everything. And I was quite familiar with the protocols that were being imposed on families. In fact, I had during that time.
Sorry to jump in. X just blocked the feed and I just got kicked off the feed. So please restate what you're saying there.
Imagine that.
Okay. The egregious nature. I said thank you for having us on and for having me on. And then I said, Graham contacted me. And when he initially contacted me and told me about it, I think I kind of backed up a little bit, Graham, right? Because it's such a complex matter.
You paused.
Yeah. And my plate is full, but it just stays full. So I think it just is what it is at this moment. But once I heard the facts of the case and heard what had occurred, I said, okay, I needed to hear more. and see what really took place. And it just reminded me, or took me back into the fight of COVID, right? I'm still in the fight. I was just on a different angle of it, but it's all dealing with children and their families. And this just brought me back to the medical side of things. Hearing how, what Northwell did, what these doctors did, the hospital protocols, it's almost like PTSD, right? When we were during the mandates, the lockdowns, everything that was happening, I remember getting calls from patients that were being held at Northwell against their will, and having to tell families what to say to the staff to kind of frighten them to release them. I remember, colleagues of mine having helicopters. Did it kick out again?
Here I am. Sorry.
Okay. Using different mechanisms of pretty much busting people out of hospitals.
Wow.
So I remember that. So I thought about when I heard the facts about the case, and Graham is very compelling. He's very compelling. And then when I met Rebecca, that just kind of sealed the deal.
Right. And what do you think the odds are that you can win this case? And if you do, what will it change for everyone else? Tricia, Ms. Lindsay.
Tricia's fine. I think the odds are great, but it's not going to be slam dunk. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of attention from the public. The public is going to have to pressure the courts to act. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be unless God hands us a righteous judge, right? But other than that, it's going to be us petitioning the court and bothering the judge so much, and the court pressure and the public pressuring the courts to act for them to do what's right, because the medical records speak for themselves.
I was going to say, it's very hard for me to imagine any jury looking at the medical records and not deciding in favor of Ms. Charles in your case. Are you saying that it won't be a jury trial if it goes to trial? It'll just be a judge?
Oh no, we will request a jury trial.
Okay.
Absolutely. No.
And
absolutely.
How does the public pressure a judge? I didn't know that was possible.
Presence in the courtroom, media attention, presence outside, constant online conversation, people just being aware of what's going on and bringing attention to it and not letting it die down, because Danielle is just one of many, right? So if we win this, we're speaking for a lot of families, and we open the door for a lot of families to get justice.
So if you win this, just explaining to non-lawyers, you're setting a legal precedent that then would allow other bereaved families to come forward and have a ground.
An opportunity, absolutely. An opportunity, grounds, a legal mechanism, depending on what claims survive, they will be able to use our complaint, amended complaint, as an example as to how to get justice and what avenues, what legal claims to pursue. And so it will help greatly. So I think our chances are great. I'm not naive, though. It's going to be tough. Right. It will be tough. But if the court, the arbiter of the law, does what it's supposed to do, then there should be nothing other than victory, which is why the court, they're fighting, the defendants are fighting to get rid of the case. And I don't want to, something strange is going on in the courthouse. I can be a little bit in your face a lot of times, so I reserve until I need to. But something is definitely going on, because as Graham just explained, the judge bypassing a pending fully briefed motion and ruling on a proposed judgment by defendants when we are amending the complaint and addressing, and the plaintiff has pretty much cured the procedural defect that led to the recommendation to dismiss. That's irregular, and it's actually improper. And so I would just like to say that the court may have just missed it. But I filed the letter weeks ago, months ago, and we've gotten no response yet. I would say weeks ago. So,
and you guys are in New York State, is that correct? Everyone's in New York State.
And this is sitting in Nassau County.
You filed the letter, I think March. I think it's 2 months now.
2 months. So we're going to have to move to our next mechanism. That. We're going to have to move to, and we have a number of different avenues to pursue. The final being, we have until September to utilize that. but we're hoping the court will act and just do what's right in the interest of justice.
Mhm.
If not, though, then we'll pressure the court and push them to do that. But that mechanism that we will use is going to bring back in the original 38 defendants that were dismissed, which I think it's now 37.
We believe it's 37 because
37.
one is deceased. Yeah.
Right. So we will bring them back in and consolidate. Well, we have a mechanism, and I don't want to give it away before we use it, just in case our defendants are watching.
Yeah.
But we have laid out our legal strategy, discussed it, and we're just going piece by piece, just trying to get it done and seeing which one the court will bite with. But if not, ultimately we have the big bite at the end.
And what are you asking for, Mr. Brownstein or Ms. Lindsay and Tricia?
Well,
Full exposure,
yeah.
I think, is the biggest thing.
Well, I guess what I mean is it a suit for a certain amount of money or
No.
for an apology?
No, so that's the key here. We're not settling.
Oh.
Well, let me help Graham a little bit.
Go
Let's
for
not
it. Yeah.
let's not say no,
Yeah, that's
because
true. Yeah.
civil lawsuits are always
That's right.
a dollar value is always connected
That's
to it.
right.
Otherwise, it's frivolous, right? What are you
That's
here
right.
for? It's not just to say,
$1
you know,
billion, whatever.
right, a couple million. I mean, what is her life worth? What is the
That's
mother's
right.
pain worth? Right?
That's right.
What is the punitive damages to punish them, to say don't do this again? This is not just a
Right.
slap on the wrist. They took her life.
They took her
They
life.
took her life. I looked at the pictures because, of course, discovery, we have to turn over these documents, and I started looking at the pictures the other day, and the difference. There's a striking difference from when Danielle was admitted to the hospital over the days. You can just see
Right.
what was happening to her. It just didn't make any sense for someone who went in because of a cough. You know what I mean? Or someone who allegedly had COVID and she was young. You know, you could see what was happening. And so this has to be more than a slap on the wrist. So we want exposure, but ultimately there will be a dollar value, because unfortunately these people only respond to when their pockets get touched, right? That's what makes people stand up and listen, when that dollar value attaches.
And
You
a
know?
prosecution. I mean,
Right, and the prosecution. Because we're hoping that the civil
ideal
complaint
goal.
can lead to
That's right.
a criminal complaint. It
That's right.
definitely can. So we're going for ultimate disposal. When Graham said that we're not looking for a dollar value, what we mean to say is that we're not looking for a quick dollar value.
That's
we're not,
right.
We're not looking for a backdoor settlement where this all goes away and then we're sanctioned, we're sentenced to silence and then
Totally
no one
understood.
has to hear about it. Absolutely not.
Well, I would say that those images, unless they're too painful for Ms. Charles to release, should get out in the public conversation, because, a picture of a young woman wasting away, being tortured in the way that you've described, is powerful. Like, there's only so much words
Absolutely.
can do, but images are, uncontrovertible. Mr. Brownstein, why do you need to file a civil complaint before you file criminal charges? Shouldn't Ms. Charles go to the police right now?
She tried. She
Yeah.
spoke to the DA in Nassau County. They said, can't do anything.
Why?
Yeah.
What reason did he give?
She said that, she said, Miss Donnelly said that until I have a victory in court and they give me the Bar Association to find an attorney, because I've been calling attorneys, that's why I filed my case myself, pro se, then they will step in, but they can't step in. And I show them all the proof. My daughter was overdosed, she was murdered, everything, and nope. So we'll go back there.
I've never heard of law enforcement saying there has to be a civil
I have the letter
lawsuit before the police can get involved.
Right. It's usually the opposite. It's usually the criminal matter leads to the civil, but no one wants to work. 1, 2, Northwell has a long reach, and I'm going to say that plainly. They have a long reach.
Now, is Nassau County Long Island?
Yes.
Well, I want to tell you something, if it's helpful. Before you hopped on, Ms. Lindsay, Joyce DeVoy said, my aunt was at Stony Brook University Hospital on Long Island, same aggressive protocol as Northwell, no doubt.
Yep.
So, if that's helpful to your case to know that there are other cases.
Long Island hospitals were very aggressive during COVID.
Yes.
So doesn't that suggest that there is some sort of federal or statewide directive?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Northwell was involved in lobbying the federal government in February 2020 to allow Northwell Laboratories to set up a New York State specific testing regime. It was the same day that they launched that regime that the first positive cases were established in New York State, and New York was off to the races. Northwell played a central role
They did.
in this whole thing. It's why Northwell expanded, scaled up its operations dramatically. Northwell was central player in this.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
very clear to us.
I believe it. It's interesting. So they have other roles in launching and disseminating the COVID deaths narrative. And I hate to say this, it's so obvious. I said it to you, Ms. Charles, last time we spoke. I remember vividly they needed young people's deaths.
Yes.
They kept wanting to say young people are dying. The young people need to take the booster. Young people weren't dying. They weren't dying. They weren't at risk. And they were trying everything. They were bribing parents. They were offering to pay for funerals when young people died of other causes in order to produce young people who have died of COVID. Let me turn to your lawyers and ask this. Ms. Lindsay, first to you. Do you think Northwell was trying to kill Danielle?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, but to me, okay. Do I think that every doctor was intentionally trying to kill Danielle and every nurse? That would be a stretch. Do I think they were negligent in helping to help to participate in her death? Absolutely. Because
it seems more than negligent, right? So
notice I said everyone. There's some key figures in there that I think absolutely were intentionally doing what they would do.
So my follow-up question to you and then to Mr. Brownstein is, why do you think the ones who were trying to kill Danielle were trying to kill her?
If we can look at the medical records and see, I mean, you did a quick Google search, right?
I don't mean what makes you think it. I mean, what do you think their motivation was?
Money.
How so?
This was a murder for money deal.
Yeah.
Almost
because of the protocols, the
incentives.
The incentives.
Incentives.
You mean just $40,000 for calling it a COVID death?
You give them remdesivir,
it's more than that. She had a trust. All of these special needs folks,
they have trust.
All of them have trusts. And guess who gets the remainder of the trust after the person is murdered?
Who?
The state.
New York State. Yes, they do. And Northwell's president said he helped to save New York. I think, was it 80 billion, Rebecca?
Yeah, 12 billion, 20 billion.
Some number he gave. He said he helped to save, right. And he said that he knew that they were aware that 80% of the patients put on ventilators would not survive. So you tell me now. Yeah. If I know that they're not going to survive and I'm still ordering my staff to put them on and I'm still buying this equipment and it's still part of the protocol, then you're intentionally killing these people. Yes, you are.
Totally.
So the federal government says, we'll pay you extra money if you do these protocols. And so the hospitals do. And then the state collects on the back end the remainder of the estate.
Right.
But how does the estate of Danielle go to the state?
It's written into the trust documents. It's a New York statute.
It's for people with disabilities, all people with disabilities?
Not all, but
if they have a trust, if they had some sort of
medical trust
with their care. In essence, they're they're finding a mechanism to take back the money that they awarded the person early on in life. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll say one thing. So they're saving money from Medicaid because even though Danielle had private Cigna PPO, she also had Medicaid insurance, which she never used. Right. So once you get rid of her, you're saving the state money. So Northwell Health been doing this for a very long time. So I'm going to save the state money because he was on the Medicaid board for saving the state. And I'll just save it through my hospital. So here we go, a wash. And a lot of special needs died in New York. They said, it happened so much. COVID took the special needs. No, COVID didn't take the special needs.
Right. They're the ones with the medical trust. Well, you've solved the mystery of how it is that two healthy, loved, well cared for young adults like Scott Chara's daughter and your daughter both were targeted in this way. I've been racking my brains thinking, I thought it was, God forbid, organ harvesting. I thought
it was too.
It was that too.
Yeah, they put an organ a number on her as an organ donor, and she never was in the medical record without telling me. So they were planning to take her organs too. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like for lack of a better word, it's like a one-stop shop for them.
Yeah.
And that's how they look at it. It's like chattel slavery. Like, it's so many different uses. You know what I mean? No matter which way you go. And so that's what was going on. And it's hard for the average person to believe that this is going on and this is what it is. But the records are there. They speak.
Well, you anticipated, Tricia, my last question, which is, this is so surreal and so demonic. And as you said, like multivalent ways to monetize a single body, right? Chattel slavery is a great metaphor, like multiple a whole economy of exploitation and abuse of this one human. And how can I put this? The facts are so crazy and hellish. How will you get people to believe you? It seems insane to tell this story.
The facts speak for themselves.
Right.
Medical records.
We're
images.
going to get into this. We're about to start depositions.
Yeah.
So the facts are going to speak for themselves. They're going to come out. There's going to be more and more press coverage of this case. And we're going to grind this out as long and slow and loud as it takes.
All right, good for you.
Gone are the days where we could say that, that doesn't make sense, or that would never happen, or that should never happen. Those phrases became very dangerous when COVID came in. Very dangerous, because everything that we thought could not happen or would not happen or should not happen is happening. I mean, you have COVID, you have Epstein, you have all these egregious situations going on. We can no longer live in that fog. Right. And under that veil to say, oh, absolutely not. No, these things are happening. And if we don't address it, it's going to continue to happen. And don't wait till it hits. The public need not wait until it hits their doorstep, because unfortunately, oftentimes that's what happens. Right.
Well,
to answer me.
Yeah, beautiful answer from everyone. Beautiful closing remarks. And I just want to remind everyone, just as Tricia said, it's not a distant, weird thing that tragically happened to this one mom. All of us who are ever going to go into a hospital for surgery or long-term care or, an accident, these people on this program are protecting us by taking the steps that they're taking. And even if Rebecca Charles couldn't save her daughter from a gigantic, monstrous institution that was ranged against her to take her daughter, she's going to be saving a lot of other people by working together with these talented attorneys. So we've run out of time, sadly, and we're getting lots of thanks. A human being was at rallies with us, and she says no one knows the Constitution like Tricia, and of course we're so happy to have Mr. Brownstein joining the fight, and so Rebecca, why don't you close by telling people how they can help you? I'm going to just say it. Lawyers are expensive and they deserve to be paid. And so if you care about what you've heard, you really need to help support Rebecca in raising the money that she needs to raise to pay her counsel, her whole team, and pay other costs.
We're not getting paid, but
Thank you so much, Naomi, for having us and giving us a platform to speak. I am doing this to save lives, and I hope that everybody will join this fight through Free Now Foundation. There's a link that you could pay. Just put Danielle's name in the box and donate whatever, $5, $10, $20, whatever you could afford. It will save future generations, because this needs to be exposed.
Sorry, Free Now is an organization that has various projects. Is there a way for them to select your project?
Yeah, on their website, well, Graham, you could say,
there is an actual landing page for this case on the Free Now Foundation current legal cases, current lawsuits page. So if you go to freenowfoundation.org and current lawsuits, you can find this case, and there's a donation page for this case. And I want to make it clear, Tricia and I have not gotten paid. We don't anticipate being paid, but we have a lot of very hard costs. Paralegals, court fees, printing costs. We have 42 defendants, very wealthy defendants. It's an expensive case to prosecute whether we get paid a dime or not. So the donations are not going to pay our billable hours. It's to cover hard costs.
Right. Duly noted. All right. I hate to let you guys go. It's a heartbreaking story, but I know we'll hear more from you. The door is always open for all of you to come back and update us. And thank you so much for your heroic work. I'm going to remove each of you, and then I'm going to thank our sponsors. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Oh, what a story. And I just can't thank our sponsors enough. As the lawyers pointed out, there are fixed costs to all the work everyone is doing in the freedom movement, and certainly to independent journalism like ours. So we too rely on you and depend on you and on our sponsors. And if you want to help Outspoken and Daily Clout keep bringing you stories like this that the New York Times is not covering, stories that help you and your family, please donate to us and support us, and also go over to our sponsors' fantastic products, and you support us by buying them, and we would not be telling you about them if they weren't wonderful products that we use ourselves. So you're not dealing with bad skin if you're an adult with acne, you're dealing with an untreated root cause. It starts small, a little redness, a few bumps, and then it expands. You go through the cycle of doctor's appointments and you try product after product with no real relief. You're not alone. 25% of adults struggle with acne, and more than 14 million Americans battle rosacea. 1 in 10 people suffers from chronic dermatitis or eczema. That's so much. These are not just cosmetic issues. They itch, burn, and crush confidence. Store-bought treatments only mask symptoms, while ignoring bacteria, mites, and inflammation. And many such treatments have harsh chemicals that cause severe side effects. Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from the Wellness Company is different. This dermatologist-designed prescription formula targets the root cause safely and gently under the skin. Azelaic acid helps clear clogged pores and brighten skin. Ivermectin targets Demodex mites and reduces inflammation. Metronidazole helps control bacterial overgrowth and calms irritation. Stop guessing. Get Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream and transform your skin back to normal. Use dailyclouthealth.com and use code dailyclout, and you will save $20 off plus get free shipping. It's really an incredible company, the Wellness Company. I use so many of their products, and I don't hesitate to recommend this as well. So additionally, you've probably heard the headlines by now, RFK Jr.'s pharma audit team has been digging into some uncomfortable questions about common medications, including claims around Tylenol and neurological development. Now, regardless of where you are in relation to that debate, here's the part that should make everyone pause. Many studies have raised concerns about acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, and its effect on something called glutathione. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It protects your cells, your brain, and your nervous system from damage. And when glutathione levels drop, your nerves don't fire the way they should. Signals weaken, repair slows down. This is very personal to me because I have a nerve condition, spina bifida occulta, and I definitely know the difference between damaged nerves flaring up, and calm, happy, peaceful nerves that are doing what they should. That's when people start feeling burning, tingling, numbness, the kind of nerve pain that slowly takes over daily life. And here's the bigger issue. Tylenol isn't the only thing that drains antioxidants from your body. Ultra-processed foods, environmental toxins, chemicals in hygiene products, plastics we use every single day, all of it adds up. And most solutions for nerve pain, pills, creams, TENS machines, and so on, they try to mask the pain, but they don't replace what your nerves are actually missing. The good news, there are specific minerals naturally occurring straight from the earth that help restore nerve strength, protect nerve cells, and calm that constant buzzing, burning, and numbness. Scan the QR code in the link below or go to myprimal.life/ myprimal.life/outspoken nerve. I'm going to say it again, myprimal.life/outspoken nerve, to find out exactly what those minerals are, how they work, and why some people call them miracle grow for your nerves. Because when nerves get what they need, they don't just calm down, they power back up. I'm going to read the website again so you don't forget. It's myprimal.life/outspoken nerve, and the URL will be in the description below. That's it for us today, you guys. Thank you for watching. Really up to you to support our sponsors, get these fantastic products to keep your skin clear and healthy. And if you have any nerve issues, nerve damage, or nerve pain, to calm and protect those nerves without Big Pharma's side effects, which are so serious, and which, for many medications, we only learn over time what the side effects are cumulatively. Why not just stay healthy? That's my view, and it served me well on this journey. And I try to always bring you information about the best, safest, most reliable, and most effective products that let you live free from Big Pharma and other matrices that we don't want to be part of, matrices. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me here on Outspoken. And remember to support us on Substack, Outspoken, or on Daily Cloud.